It is 7 p.m. on Monday, November 17th, 2025, and I'm going to call this regular City Council meeting to order. I do want to thank everyone who's joining us this evening, and if Mayor Pro Tem would lead us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Whalen has asked to be excused from tonight's meeting.
I move to excuse Councilmember Whalen for tonight's meeting.
It's been moved by Councilmember Strader and seconded by Councilmember Peretti to excuse Councilmember Whalen this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. And then to note for staff, we have Interim Director Robeck, Chief Hernandez, and City Clerk Tricia Summers. Next on our agenda is citizen participation. The purpose of the public comment period at this meeting is for those wishing to address the council on any matter. It's not intended for debate and discussion with the public. When I call your name, please come to the podium and state your name and city for the record. And I kindly remind you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. First up, or actually the only person signed up, is Tom Boyle. Uh-oh, you're taking your jacket off?
I hope you don't mind if I wear my hat, a little displaced here. Thank you, Mayor, Council, staff, and the citizens of Milton for the opportunity to speak. My name's Tom Boyle. I'm at 1109 9th Avenue. I'm just kind of doing an end of the year presentation to council. I wish I had like a Chris Rock thing where I could take this and walk around and work the room a little bit. Kind of like on the new beautiful stage that, Jesus, we're just blessed to have it. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor Shanna, for pushing that through. To me, I've lived here a long time. And as far as a mayorship of this city, Mayor Shanna, to me and my family, has been the best mayor in 20 plus years. Just so some of you haven't been around, there's been some turmoil and some this and that and the other with past mayors. People didn't agree, this and that. But after her first year, I really saw her vision and followed her, and she's done an excellent job. And Mr. White, I will tell you that you have some very, very big shoes to fill. It's not easy to please everyone. Council members, outgoing, thank you. Thank you for your service. I've been there. It sucks. You got to be a people pleaser all the time, and yet you still have to run a multi-million-dollar business that we have here. Good luck to the incoming people, which I don't see. Maybe someone's here. I don't know any of these people that I voted for because they all ran unopposed, so except April. But so I don't know what the future holds for us. New administration, new council members. I just pray that everyone continues to follow the vision of the community. And thank you everyone for your service on the outgoing. Fireworks, stop, just stop. Stop with the fireworks. It's a waste of resources. I'm telling you, it's like trying to change the climate. Please just stop. Quit throwing money at this. I mean, we put it on the ballot. I don't know how much that cost. It was 55% to 45%, which is what we voted on 10 years ago with fireworks. Please just stop with the fireworks. People are going to be stupid. You can't control it. Please, government. Cameras. It's cheating, okay? That's my first vision, is the cameras are cheating. It's us versus the cops. It's always been since I was a teenager. But my solution years ago was always to, what's that noise?
That's your 3
I
minutes.
thought it was a camera going off.
No, that's your 3 minutes.
Anyways, the cameras, Thank you, it's something, okay? I wanted to lower the speed limit. You went with cameras, that's fine. That's all the time I got. I'll be back next council meeting at the first of next month to complain about 2 other items I didn't quite get to, but anyways, good and the bad, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyle. In case you don't stick around, I just want to say something on the record. Your words meant a lot to me because you and I have not seen eye to eye, and we've had discussions about, your concerns of me taking office. So for you to come to council and express what you did tonight means a lot to me. So thank you.
Same thing I said in the old days.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to additions and deletions. Any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to pass? Councilmember Peretti?
I'll move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Peretti and seconded by Councilmember Hall to pass the consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. Council, our first agenda item, and I believe everything tonight, nope, not everything, almost everything is a discussion, or an action, I'm sorry. But the first item tonight is on page 21 of our packet. It is ordinance 2126-25 regarding the property tax levy for 2026. Going to turn the floor over to Interim Director Robeck, and then following her review, I will need a motion to open up the floor for discussion.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The city must adopt and submit the tax levy ordinance by November 30th of each year. The attached ordinance pertains to the increase of 1% of the regular levy only. Amounts for this ordinance are provided by Pierce County and are calculated as shown in the agenda bill, for a total increase of $16,446. I'd be happy to address any questions once a motion is made.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I move to adopt ordinance 2126-25, establishing the regular tax levy for properties located in Pierce and King counties for the year 2026.
Second.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Cedar to adopt ordinance 2126-25, establishing the regular tax levy for properties located in Pierce and King counties for the year 2026. Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you. We go through this every year. We've gone through this 8 years in a row. This is 8 years in a row. And it's the same thing. It's granted, it's $16,000. It's a small amount. This has been discussed to either not take it and roll it over into the next year. It doesn't make any difference because if the county sits on it, they're going to make interest on the money and the city would not. And so I am for this. I always have been. It's the city's portion of the property tax, and that's about it.
Okay. Councilmember Cedar, did you want to speak to your second?
Yeah, I agree with Mayor Pro Tem. Nobody had any comments last week. I can't imagine what else there is to discuss.
Okay. Any comments, questions, concerns? Councilmember White?
Can you believe it? I have a comment about this. I'm just going to be consistent with prior years again. Our budget is going to be in surplus again this year by about 40%, and I take a different tact. This is only $16,446. It's not a lot of relief if we don't take this, but it also will not really affect our budget. If you look on the worksheet page from Pierce County, there's actually $15,804. I'm sorry, $14,165 that's coming in from new construction, which is almost the amount of the proposed increase. So I think, and contrary to what Councilman Whitaker said, if we don't pass this, the residents' city version of the property tax will not increase. And so the county won't sit on any money. It just won't charge it to our residents. So I'm going to, for the fourth year in a row, vote against raising property taxes in town. Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments, concerns, questions? Councilmember Hall?
We get clarification on that statement because we have two different views on this. If we don't take it, does it just sit there and then Pierce County collects the interest? Does it go away from the citizens either way?
That's a good question. I think there's some truth in both statements. I believe that Councilmember White is correct that if we don't increase the 1%, then that 1% is not passed on to the taxpayers. But these calculations are there's a lot of pieces in them. So there is money that the county is holding on to. Other jurisdictions can come into play. So I think that there's, like I said, truth in both statements. I guess from finance director's point of view, and what we've discussed previously, the 1% each year is a lot easier for taxpayers to budget and expect than banking that 1% and in a future year increasing taxes by more.
That's what I remember you saying before. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, it is an action item. Remember to state your name and your city, and you got 3 minutes. Ms. Johnson.
Susan Johnson, Milton, Washington. Well, the disagreement is starting in public again. That 1%, I'd rather know each year. It's a small amount. Our taxes will still go up because the county, the fire, all the others are still rising every year. And I'd rather be prepared each year rather than being hit with a 4% maybe in 4 years when a term agreement of the council saying, no, we don't want it. It's better to plan now with my budget than to be hit with a big amount, which happened when we had to, at council, determine the fee structure for utilities and everything because the previous councils never raised anything. So all at once, people and the citizens are hit with an increase based on the CPI and other percentages depending on what the fee was and the fund we were using because you're not planning. And things are so expensive now, we can't hold off and say, well, no, we're not going to do it. We're not, oh, wait, in 5 years, oh, geez, we should have taken that friggin' money. So no, 16,000 isn't a lot, but it's our money. We pay taxes every year. It's still our money, and I'd rather know how much I'm paying now than wait 5 years.
Any other comments from the audience? All right. It has been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Cedar to adopt ordinance 2126-25, establishing the regular tax levy for properties located in Pierce and King counties for the year 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Hey,
Carried for 2. Does it have to be a supermajority for this one? Because there are a couple,
I think it's just a majority.
just a majority.
It's a
Okay.
super majority. Let's see.
We'll move on. We'll move on from it, but if you find something that says it needs to be super, then let me know. Okay, so it did pass 4-2. So moving on to the next item, it's on page 27 of the packet. It is a discussion item in the first read of ordinance 2130-25 regarding a code update to 13.36.020. I'm going to pass the floor back over to Interim Director Robeck.
Thank you again. Milton Municipal Code provides for discounted monthly water and electric rates for senior and disabled citizens. Per RCW, however, an electric utility must make programs and funding available for energy assistance to low-income households as well. In 2024, the reduced utility rates application was modified to include all low-income households, but code was not revised to reflect this change. The attached ordinance updates MMC 13.36.020 to include all low-income households and modifies the definition of low income for consistency with RCW. This is not an action item, so if anyone has any comments or questions about this.
Okay. So this will come back to council on December 1st. Moving on to the next item this evening, it's on page 33 of your packet. It is ordinance 2128-25 for a code adjustment to chapter 9.55. I'm going to turn the floor over to Chief Hernandez, and then following his discussion, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Good evening, council and virtual guests and guests in the audience. Bringing back for an action item tonight to strengthen our code regarding camping in the city of Milton. One of the things I just wanted to touch upon, we already discussed this at the last council meeting, but Councilman Cedar had expressed concern on how to make sure that we're making sure that these individuals get access to resources. So we talked about our policies and procedures in the police department. And I also tonight brought along our handout that we will be handing out to individuals. If you want to circulate that around the corner. That it tells them where there's shelters, how to do the intake, telephone number, resources to call, other resources such as food banks and so forth. And we also talked about the due process for individuals that are camping and in need. And one of the things that we talked about is in the department is that we would be making a record of the contact and that resources were provided to those individuals so that should it rise to the level for us to take an enforcement action, there would be a record of the actions that the police officers had taken on that first contact. To develop the probable cause if there was a law enforcement action required on the second contact after a 24-hour period. So hopefully that will ease Councilman Cedar's concern and any of the other council members' concerns regarding due process for individuals that might be out there camping.
Would anyone like to make a motion? Mayor Pro Tem?
I move to approve ordinance 2128-25 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Strader to approve ordinance 2128-25 as presented. Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you. I'm glad that you put this into play. We talked about it last week. I know that we had the discussion about the shall and the at least giving an attempt. I still appreciate it seems that either way, yes, with the shall, that you will be giving it to them, but from your description, they still are being given the resources that they need. I like that you're giving them lots of people who are camping, you're giving them lots of leniency, in my opinion, to then go back and you're setting yourselves up for success as opposed to failure that way. You're laying everything out in front of them and you're letting them know that here are the resources we can, set you up and getting you in contact with those. It's too bad that there are those people out there that they just don't want to use the resources. They know this is the way I want to live, and I feel sorry for them that feel that way, and I feel sorry for the officers that have to encounter that and take that, sometimes the abuse that they get. But I know, in my opinion, this is a step definitely in the right direction.
Councilmember Strader, do you want to speak to your second?
Nothing.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns from council? Councilmember Cedar?
Yeah, I'm not going to vote to support this, and I'm going to give a few reasons why. Chief, I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate what your officers do. I know they're doing their best out there to stay safe. I dug into this a little bit in the last week. I chatted with the city attorney. This isn't modeled. It doesn't appear to be modeled after anywhere that he was identified. The language has come from the city. So that, right away gives me pause, because it means that we're striking some new ground here. And he doesn't have a problem with the shall attempt language that I pointed out last meeting, although he did draw the analogy that the only time that appears in our code is when the city attempts to contact an applicant for a business license, which requires 3 attempts. So this is the only time we have a shall attempt, and I can say, having practiced law for 15 years, I've never seen a shall attempt. It's contradictory language. So beyond talking to the attorney, which didn't do anything to assuage my fears about this, I looked into a couple cities. So City of Fife and City of Lakewood both have camping provisions. City of Lakewood has essentially an expulsion. It's their stick. You are camping on public property, you're exposed, you're kicked out. But if it's due to homelessness, then they take a different tact and they use their carrot, which is they have a specific division of the police department set up to assist in locating resources. They dedicate 1% of their general fund to to housing first models so that they can provide that housing. It's a strong 2-pronged approach. City of Fife, who, as we all know, they struggle with a lot of transient populations down there. They use expulsion as well. They have a robust program set up, a jobs program. They have a permanent staff position for addressing homelessness. They have a lot of these tools. And what those two jurisdictions tell me, is that they've made policy choices about how they're going to address this problem. What we see in this ordinance, I think, is just the stick. And I appreciate that. That's what our law enforcement does, and they do an awesome job. But we, as the body, should recognize, what do we actually want to happen? Because if you give someone a $1,000 fine and 90 days in jail, that's not going to help them. That's not going to get them on their feet. And when you put all of this against the backdrop of what's happening with federal HUD funds, where we're going to see a cap, there was just a letter sent, very bipartisan, by a local group, spearheaded by former Mayor Josh Penner. And it reflects that there's about to be 170,000 people who are going to lose their houses, not because of a change in policy, but because it's a non-extension of existing funds. So we're going to increase homelessness. And these things need to work together. If it was as simple as just giving someone a fine and arresting them, we would have done that a long time ago, and that's never worked. Tacoma has tried that now for however long, 6 years, and it just doesn't work. So I think if we're going to do this, we should have some other plan, some way to address these issues in a 2-pronged approach. I don't see that here. I also think that it's a very poorly drafted ordinance. Even in the final draft, there's still typos and syntax problems that I don't think reflect the quality we want in something that is this big of a shift. And the final point I'll make is that the Supreme Court case that came out, which I'm sure will be preempted by state law in either this or the next legislative session, but the Supreme Court case that came out, all it said is that it's not a violation of the 8th Amendment, which means it's not cruel and unusual punishment to arrest someone. But that doesn't mean it's the right choice. And I would just urge everyone to reflect on that. Do we want to just arrest people because they're camping in public spaces? Or do we want to think of a policy that's going to help people and have a solution in place? Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilmember Peretti?
I appreciate this coming forward. Not to give a position that I'm completely opposite, but I am kind of opposite of our previous council member that spoke there. I don't put Fife up to somebody that I want to mirror. I've been in this community 43 years, and what I've seen happen in Fife, I don't want to see happen here. And their policies and procedures, I don't think are working for what's going on down there. I think knowing the quaintness of our city here and knowing how our police department works and how giving them the ability to prevent things like a Fife or even Lakewood. I understand Lakewood. I don't think Lakewood's an example we need to be following either. That we need to make sure that we don't open doors in our community now to go down this path of not, I understand to be compassionate against the situation, but there's also, and the problem with it's I'm coming here is I've worked in this scenario of trying to help people that are homeless, and it gets very frustrating when you hand out all these resources and it's still a no. And they don't want to take it. They don't want to use it. We've done it here in Milton when I've been involved in the church here locally, where we want to do things, we take people place, and they just don't want to do it. And I think having the ability that, eventually we can't just service everybody in our city. And we have to have policies and procedures in place that says we're here to help, but we just can't continue doing this. And Fife and Lakewood is not an example to follow. And so I am all for this if it just helps a little bit going down this path. I think the pendulum has swung way much to the side of we're just going to do everything we can and not have any kind of self-responsibility.
Councilmember Hall?
So I talk to a lot of citizens when I'm out walking. We walk the trail. Their number one concern on that trail is when they see homeless there. They're worried about them. They're worried about if they're healthy and they're taken care of, but they're also worried about, are we safe? Is the area safe? Because I've called the fire department several times over the years in the height of summer because somebody had started fires. So I think we've got to start somewhere. If maybe we do pass this, then maybe that's something that we could continue to work on. It's not an all or nothing. And we could also evaluate how it is working. Chief, it'd be great if we could get a report back on how many, what was it about, where was it at, so we can really kind of zone in on what's working and what isn't. Thank you.
Any other comments, concerns, questions? Chief Hernandez?
Just trying to address some of the concerns that have been expressed. One, we always try to weigh the right of the individual against the right of the majority. And so we're not looking at criminalizing people that are homeless. We're talking about people that are camping where they shouldn't be camping. And we provide resources to them. I mean, here we've got information for single men plus 18, single women plus 18. We've got safe parking. We got youth and young adults in our resource materials that we hand out. We direct them to food banks and so forth. And I don't want it to be lost that we do have access to co-responders, and we do attempt to have co-responders respond if we believe that individuals are actually in distress or some kind of mental health issue. What we're trying to address in this particular ordinance is individuals that have said, and I've had people say this to me, that it's not that they're down and out, it's that they choose this way of life. And they choose that way of life, and then they think that they can just go ahead and exercise their right for that way of life. And it creates public health issues with the lack of sanitation, with the open use of drugs, the disposal of the byproduct from using those drugs, such as hypodermic needles and such. And so if you want to choose that way of life, or if you are in distress economically, mentally, we will get those resources to you should you choose to take advantage of them. This is for those rare instances where people are just like, nope, I want to camp here. I want to do what I want to do here, regardless of how it might affect the community, the neighborhood, the businesses. And so we're just trying to strengthen our current code so that it gives us a little bit more teeth, that if we have those individuals that choose to weigh their right over the rights of everybody else, then there is a consequence. And then the thing about the constitutionality in the Eighth Amendment, I would say that we have a constitutional officer, and that is the judge. And so the judge is the one who weighs in as the constitutional officer and makes that determination on whether or not the actions of the police were unequitable and whether or not it serves the spirit of the legislation that was created for taking this enforcement action. And judges determine whether or not our actions were unreasonable, and they have the right to override our decision by dismissing the case or by setting conditions on these individuals that maybe you don't reside in that area again, and if you do, you could be subject to a penalty. Or the judge says, you know what, since you are in our custody, we're going to try to get you into treatment. We're going to try to get you mental health treatment as well. Or I have never, in my time, when I have encountered individuals that were either domestic violence victims or people that really were in need and wanted help, those people took advantage of the help. These are people, most of the time, that are reluctant and don't want to do it and think that their right outweighs the rights of everybody else. And so that's all we're trying to accomplish in this code. But it's a very good discussion. I think it certainly should be a public discussion, and it's been going on for years. And that's why I've presented and brought this forward to the legislative body to make a decision based on the information.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, it is an action item. Make sure you state your name, your city, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Susan Johnson. Oh, hang on, we're starting the timer. Give me a second.
Oh, no. Susan Johnson, Milton. I want to thank the chief because I trust our police department. And this is I believe in tough love. I've had family that have been into drugs. Those people need help, and a lot of time they will accept help. And that's why this is well written. I had a difference between the shall and attempt, because I believe WashDOT should be helping us in the areas that they have taken over where the homeless are coming, instead of our resources having to be used on it. I feel for homeless people that are really homeless, but the people that make the decision that this is their lifestyle, why should we allow them to impact our lifestyle and our city? We are in between in this Puget Sound area, the high growth of homeless, and it's only getting worse. And so somehow we have to be, unfortunately, selfish for our city, our students, our old people, our young people, all of us. The park, which I don't walk the trail anymore because one time I had one following me, which made me nervous. And I turned around and finally some other people were coming and I walked with them to get back to the car. This is not only a moral issue of wanting to be human to people, but it's also a safety issue. And this is a step. We've said it before when I was on council. There were codes we did not have that allowed things to happen. This is a step. This is a step. And yes, we want to help people. But you know, it's a thing, people have to help themselves some too. And with those, you are providing the avenue, but 3 times out, I looked at the $1,000 fee and I went, whoa. And I said, no, the judge makes the determination on that. If it's a person that's really needing help and they're in front of the judge, they will say, I want help. She will probably say, no fee, you go to help. Oh, wait, you shit, you did drugs, you did what in our waterway? Nope, that's a $1,000 fine. So I support this, and I know there are other citizens out there, excuse me for my language, but I'm tired of enabling people.
Are there any other comments on this item from the audience?
Oh, of course. Oh, my God, I've been waiting, I don't know, 15 years to talk about this. Steve Peretti, thank you. Fife is a toilet. I don't know what road you guys are driving on where you don't see this filth and the crime and the garbage and the lady taking a leak on the side of the road when I'm just trying to get to the Poodle Dog and have a nice dinner. It's Federal Way, forget it. My wife closed her business 4 years ago. She made it through COVID and she shut it down because there's a homeless person on her stoop every night. And they're not these people that are in their cars and they just want to sleep at the park for the night and then use the restroom and move on. These are drug addicts. These are thieves. These are people that are stealing our liberties and we're enabling them. So more teeth to the police department. Bravo. Bravo. Pass this thing, please. It's a step forward. Thank you.
And I'll just note that was Mr. Tom Boyle of Milton, Washington, if you didn't know.
You didn't hear me all the way at 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Any other comments from the audience on this action item? Okay. It has been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Strader to approve ordinance 2128-25. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 5-1. Moving on to the next item this evening, it is on page 43 of the packet. It is Resolution 25-1992 for reappointment of Judge Allen. I will turn the floor over to Chief Hernandez, and then following his review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Good evening, council and guests and virtual. This is a action item to renew our current municipal court judge who has been here since I have been here for going on at least 12 years or more. When the city of Milton used to have the court here on campus, she was the judge then. Since then, we have contracted for space in the Puyallup Court, and I would urge council to renew her contract again for municipal court services.
Councilmember Cedar?
Move to approve Resolution 25-1992 for reappointment of Judge Sandra Allen and authorize the mayor to sign the employment agreement.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Hall to approve Resolution 25-1992 for reappointment of Judge Sandra Allen and authorize the mayor to sign the employment agreement. Councilmember Cedar, do you want to speak to your motion?
Yeah, just note that Judge Allen is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about her. It was actually quite a pleasure to have her come present here. I appreciate whoever set that up in the administration. That was a nice kind of face-to-face for all of us, I think. So yeah, I see no reason why we would deviate from a fantastic path.
Okay. Councilmember Hall?
He set it off.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? All right, it is an action item. Are there any comments on this agenda item from the audience? Okay. It has been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Hall to approve Resolution 25-1992 for reappointment of Judge Sandra Allen and authorize the mayor to sign the employment agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. Our last agenda item this evening, our regular agenda item this evening, is on page 51 of your packet. It is a contract amendment for the municipal court interlocal agreement. I'm going to turn the floor over again to Chief Hernandez, and then following his review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Good evening, council and everyone in attendance. I am asking for action tonight. This is to meet our legislative requirement because the caseload for public defenders has been decreased so that they can provide adequate defense to their clients. And so with that, they have increased their fee to be able to accommodate that, the city of Puyallup has. And so they have requested an amendment to the additional agreement for the public defender going from $8,000 to $12,000 a month. And so I'm asking council for it to take into consideration. Not that we really have a choice, because this is just making it so that we are being consistent with the new legislation that passed that required the public defender's workload be brought down so that they can provide adequate defense to their clients.
Councilmember Hall?
Move to approve the amendment to the Municipal Court Services Agreement for the Public Defender Services.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Councilmember White to approve the amendment to the Municipal Court Services Agreement for Public Defender Services. Councilmember Hall, did you want to speak to your motion?
It's basically housekeeping. We don't really have a choice in it, but if it's going to make them better at what they do, I'm for it. Thank you.
Councilmember White, did you want to speak to your second?
I have nothing further to add.
Okay. Any other, Councilmember Hall?
Oh, sorry, I didn't ask. Budget. The next year's budget. Is it in there? I didn't, sorry, I was going to look it up earlier and I forgot
okay.
about it.
No, I did increase this line item. We didn't have the exact numbers at the time of the budget, but I did increase the line item. I will be making changes to the budget before it comes for its first and second reads. So I'll look to make sure that I increased it enough for all of these items.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns from council? Okay, this is an action item. Are there any comments on this item from the audience? Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Councilmember White to approve the amendment to the Municipal Court Services Agreement for Public Defender Services. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 6-0. It is 7:42, and the City Council will now go into executive session for planning or adopting the strategy or position to be taken by the City Council during the course of any collective bargaining, professional negotiations, or grievance or mediation proceedings, or reviewing the proposal made in the negotiations or proceedings while in progress pursuant to RCW 42.30.1404B. The meeting shall last for about 15 minutes. There'll be no action taken following this session. Okay, the executive session is concluded and adjourned at 7:55 PM. Moving on to council reports. Councilmember Hall.
Shoot, I don't think I have anything.
Councilmember Schrader.
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Cedar.
Just a couple of things. I was in 2 committees this week, the SCA Public Issues Committee, interesting discussion about unapproved food vendors. This is focusing on, it's essentially all King County, but talking about Federal Way, and I think they're probably seeing the same thing in Fife. I imagine we're dealing with it here. Just an insane briefing on the risks that come with unapproved food vendors, so something to think about. And then they were, like everyone, putting together legislative priorities. And then the Puget Sound Regional Council Transportation Policy Board should have the regional transportation plan and the financial strategies out. That'll open for public comment here in the next short bit. It's definitely worth looking into because the financial planning is challenging. There's just not money out there, and it's going to result in increased fees somewhere. And the public comment will probably be influential. And then the last thing I was going to ask is, what is the plan for fireworks following the referendum? If that's coming up this year or not?
Yeah, we got a ordinance to approve. So we had the attorney draft an ordinance for that, and we got that today. We need to review it. The plan is to bring it on December 1st. We have it written as fireworks are not allowed because that's what the voters said. So if you don't want that, then you just wouldn't make a motion and pass it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I guess my only point is like we specifically put that on the ballot. And now we have the citizens'
Yeah,
position.
yeah.
And
No, the-
well, I appreciate individual comments. I always do, but this was the whole point. So
Yeah.
we've reached this point. I think we should take action.
Yeah, no, again, the plan is December 1st. If we can't get it finalized, there's some questions on it that we have. And with the holiday coming up, it would be the December 8th meeting, but it is slated to come back, and it's slated to come back as to ban all fireworks. Councilmember Peretti? No. Councilmember White?
Nothing for me.
Mayor Pro Tem?
All right, well, I'll say something. So we brought this up before. So these 3 cards were on by my front door, and all I say is, now, as we know, technically this is littering, because if I walked out and was throwing business cards everywhere, that would be littering. I don't mind if they put on like door hangers. Those aren't going to blow away, but these will. So I don't know who I'd give these to. I can after the meeting. And I jokingly said to myself, it's very convenient because they put all their contact information on there. So now the city can, if you care to do so, somebody can take their time and contact them and say, no.
Interim Director Robert? Chief?
Just wanted to give a quick update on the traffic enforcement. We've been going 11 days live. We've had 414 violations. 392 were approved, 22 were disapproved. Out of the 414, 34 of those were Milton residents. The other violations occurred out of the 414. 298 were going down the hill past the park. 2 were 28th and westbound on Milton Way. And 28th and southbound, there were 29. 28th and eastbound, there were 15. And in the school zone at the 2200, entering into the school zone, there were 65. So that's coming out of up Milton Way through the light towards the school. And then there were only 5 at 1700 Milton, which is coming around the corner. So that is 11 days so far.
Councilmember Peretti, you had a question?
Yeah, I had a question that actually a citizen asked me about coming off of Milton in the school zone, taking a right on 19th. There's actually a sign, there's no signage that says end of school zone. You enter into the blinking light system, you take a right on 19th and start down the hill, but there's no sign that says into school. But there is a sign that says you're entering a school zone with a blinking light on the right-hand side when you're coming up 19th. So I'm wondering if we need to address that and actually put it into school zone.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
Councilmember Strader?
I had a citizen complain about them being a different color than they normally are. Are they yellow?
The school
The
zone
warning-
beacons?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
warnings.
they're yellow. They've always been yellow, as far as I know.
Okay. And are the other ones in other speed zones, are they white?
Not that I know of.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I've never heard that.
Councilmember Hall?
The, Director Madden's not here. The speed humps on Emerald, I noticed they put in temporary blocking so that you're not driving off the road. But they're getting hit multiple times a day, and I've picked them up myself because they collapse, the base collapses. And then one person looked like they had driven through one of them next to the residence wall to go around the speed bump there. It's the bottom of the hill, toward the bottom of the hill. And that's just dangerous. I picked it up and put it back because I didn't want a car to hit it. It looks like it's happening more at night. Maybe we need better lights or more light reflective on them.
Okay, we'll talk to Director Madden tomorrow about that. Councilmember Cedar?
Or boulders.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's not a road.
Yeah.
They hit that wall.
College bro.
You all said it, so I will pass it on. I did put in requests today again for larger signs, so those are being ordered, because that's probably the biggest complaint I've gotten. And then Director Mann and I were talking today, he is ordering something yellow to kind of put, so it's more obvious that they're there. So that will be coming for those.
Yeah, something simple will need to happen. The one that's up past 17th before, up past 19th before 23rd, somebody actually drove into the neighbor's yard all the way through the yard, and there's tracks there going around it. And this is just ridiculous now. We've got to, I've seen a couple of the cars, and I'm not sure how to address it with the police, but I've seen them, and it's the low riders that are coming through there, and they're just taking off into the people's yards and going around them, and I don't know how to, because by the time you call anybody, I mean, they're gone and stuff. But it's,
If you can take a video without putting yourself in harm's way and you can get a plate, that's helpful. A video is like evidence, so.
okay.
I wonder, remember on 15th when we put in front of the McDonald's house for temporary, we put those like, they're not ecology blocks, but they're like the lower ones. I wonder if we could do something like that, because then they're going to hit it, right? Especially if they're a low rider. So we will talk to Director Madden tomorrow during our team meeting.
And generally, it's happening commute time, but then later in the evening, maybe you guys could, if you got some time, go up there and watch it, because it's a blue small sports car, a white small sports car, and a red small sports car.
Yeah, and I can tell you exact time on the upper one. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Pretty
it's
much.
after 9 o'clock.
No
and before
detective work
11.
needed here.
Email, yeah.
You can hear them.
Yeah, you hear them, you do.
Yeah. They're coming up 10th. They're coming up from the bottom, and they're just going right straight.
Okay.
You hear the small cars.
You good?
They're that loud.
Okay.
They're next-
So the only thing I have to add is just remember that City Hall is closed next Wednesday and Thursday for the Thanksgiving holiday. And of course, we're closed on Fridays. So anything else this evening? All right. Seeing that all items have been concluded, I will adjourn this meeting at 8:05 PM.